What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back. In today's video we are checking out the latest electric scooter from NIU. The one that I have here today, it's called the KQi2 Pro, and this is also the most affordable model that they make. Now I also got to try the more expensive one, which is the KQi3 Pro, and since I got to ride both of them, I can tell you a bit of the differences between the two scooters as well. But let's start with a super quick unboxing just so I can show you how this comes packed in the box basically. Okay, so as you'd expect, this comes in a fairly big box, and inside the box you're gonna find everything you need so you can start riding right away. But there is a bit of assembly that you have to do. However, that only takes about 4 to 5 minutes, so you just have to put these screws on the side here together. So you should be done that in about 5 minutes, and once you're done that, you have to plug in the scooter to charge, and then the scooter kind of activates itself. And you also have to install an app on your phone, so the scooter does connect to your phone through Bluetooth. Okay, so the scooter is powered by a 300-watt motor that's in the rear wheel here. The top speed for this particular one is 25 kilometers an hour, even though I'm pretty sure that's limited to 25 kilometers an hour as per the regulations for different countries. And the range that you're gonna get on one charge is about 40 kilometers. Now, of course, that really depends on your weight, because if you're super heavy, you're gonna get less than 40 kilometers. It depends if you're riding on flat surfaces or if you're just going uphill constantly. So you should be able to get close to 40 kilometers on one charge. Now, charging this from 0 to 100 is done in about 7 hours. So you basically plug it in at night, and by the time the morning comes, it should be fully charged. Taking a look at the scooter itself, well, the scooter is made out of a combination of plastic and metal, which is kind of normal for most scooters these days, but this one is very well made. It doesn't make any noises, it doesn't squeak whenever you go over bumpy roads, it doesn't make any weird noises, so it's very quiet. Of course, that has a lot to do with the 10-inch inflatable tires that we have on the front and on the back. So those will help over bumps so the ride doesn't feel as stiff. And even though we don't have a front or rear suspension, it doesn't feel as bumpy as a lot of other scooters that I got to try in the past. On the front here, we have a drum brake, which is a bit more unusual for most scooters these days. Most scooters these days do get a disc brake on the front, but this one has a drum brake on the front. And then the back uses regenerative braking to brake as well. Now, the braking power, when compared to a more expensive scooter like this one, for example, is not as strong, I'm gonna say. So if you're going downhill pretty fast, this one doesn't give you the same sense of stopping power, I'm gonna say. So the braking on it is good, but not as good as something that gets a front and rear brake, I'm gonna say. But again, this one is also cheaper, so they had to cut corners in certain places. Okay, so the battery pack is down here. You basically sit on top of the battery pack at all times. This is also that kind of material that feels like sandpaper, I'm gonna say, so you're not gonna slip if you're sitting here basically. And you can also remove this and replace this. So there is another one of these that comes in the box, and that one looks a bit different. I haven't actually replaced this one, but you could do that as well. On the back here, we also have a light. So this stays on at all times, and whenever you're braking, this will also light up. This is bright enough so you can actually see it during the day as well. On the back here, we also have a little latch for the folding mechanism. So of course you can fold this pretty easily. It takes about 20 seconds to fold this. You fold it from the front here, you kind of latch it in place in the back there, and whenever you're done carrying it, you can open it up again. This weighs about 40 pounds, so it's not the lightest scooter out there. So if you do have to carry this for extended periods of time, well, it will get a bit heavy. On the left hand side here, we also have the kickstand. The kickstand is made out of metal and it's quite sturdy, so whenever you have the scooter on the kickstand, it doesn't seem to move, even if it's super windy. I've seen other scooters in the past, whenever they're on the kickstand, they kind of move around, but that is not the case with this one. So on the front here, we also have a light. This one also has kind of like a daytime running light that's on at all times. But whenever you need more light, you basically turn on the lights and then you get a more powerful light. But you do get this super cool looking daytime running light. And I think this is the coolest that I've seen on any scooter out there. We have a fairly large handlebar as well, so you don't feel cramped whenever you're holding this, so it is quite comfortable for longer periods of time. On the left hand side here we have the brake. This is the only brake, but as I said, you have that drum brake on the front, and then you get the regenerative braking on the back. So that rear regenerative braking does help a bit, but as I mentioned earlier, it's not exactly the same as if you'd have a brake on the front and a brake on the back. We also have the bell right here. This is a mechanical bell, and then we have a little screen here that's visible during the day as well, with the power button, and from that power button you can also change modes. The accelerator is on the right hand side here, and you basically accelerate once you start getting the scooter moving. So let me explain how that works. So first, you kind of get onto the scooter, you start moving it a bit. The scooter has to reach about 4 kilometers an hour, and then you accelerate. So it's fairly simple. After you do it a couple of times, you kind of get the hang of it. But whenever you're accelerating just like that, the scooter is not just gonna go on by itself. So you have to start moving the scooter first, and then you accelerate. As I mentioned earlier, we have a 300 watt motor in the rear wheel, but I have to say that I was quite surprised by how much power this scooter has, and the power that it has mostly whenever you go uphill. I did try a lot of 300 watt scooters in the past. I think this is like the 10th or the 11th scooter that I got to try. And this one pulls the hardest whenever you go uphill. With most other scooters, they do stop as soon as you start going uphill, but this is not the case with this one. So I was quite surprised by how much power you actually get with this one. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, the scooter has Bluetooth connectivity, and you can download the NIU app and connect to the scooter. Once connected, you can access certain information about the scooter. You can also change the modes that it has. So this way you have a regular mode and an e-save mode. Well, you can make an additional mode if you choose to from that app. And one of my favorite features from the app is the fact that you can actually lock the scooter. So I have it locked right now. So let's say that you're parking the scooter for, I don't know, a few minutes to go somewhere, and someone tries to steal your scooter. So it kind of blocks the rear wheel, and it also makes a sound. So it is a bit harder to steal whenever it's making noise and that rear wheel doesn't want to move. It's gonna stop beeping in a second. But you get the idea. You can lock it from the app, which is a super useful feature. From the app there you can also see how many kilometers you've done, the exact percentage that you have on the battery, even though there are some LEDs on the screen here that will show you how much battery you have. But from the app you can actually see the exact kilometers that you're gonna get and the exact percentage of the battery that you have left. Okay, so next I want to show you quickly how this works. I'm gonna get that camera and mount it on my chest here, and we'll take this for a short ride. But as I mentioned earlier, the top speed for this is 25 kilometers an hour, and you can reach that speed pretty much anywhere. So very easy to do, but I'll just show you how this rides, how you accelerate, and so on. So let me grab that camera and show you how that works. Okay, so riding this is super easy. I'm not sure if you can see the screen. It's quite bright out and it's kind of hard to capture that on camera. So we have this on, and now I'm gonna start moving and accelerate. And that's simple. And then you can brake this way. And of course, then you accelerate from here once again. So yeah, it's that easy to ride this scooter. Okay, so to quickly conclude this video, if you're looking for an entry-level premium scooter, this one, the NIU KQi2 Pro, could be a really good choice. First of all, you get a scooter that's built really well. One of the best build qualities that I've seen on any electric scooters up until now. You do get plenty of range, so up to 40 kilometers on one charge, so that should be more than enough for everyone. And as I said, you do get more power than most other 300 watt scooters that I got to try up until now. Not to mention that this one looks extremely cool as well, with this daytime running light that we have on the front here. So there you have it. This is the NIU KQi2 Pro. A fairly long name, but a super cool scooter. Alright guys, hopefully this video was useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.